Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. And I guess this is technically a voice reveal as well. I personally hate the sound of my voice, so editing this is probably pure torture for myself right now.
No! What are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it!
I don't know if this is going to be a usual thing I do on this channel now, or if this is just a one-off. I guess it depends how much I hate editing this. Also, the only reason I'm even making this video today is because I was expecting there to be story quests today. I literally blocked off my whole day for this, and then I woke up and this is what I got.
Okay.
But anyway, I had this idea come to me while I was lying in bed, unable to sleep last night, so figured I'd just roll with it. Anyway, you saw the title, let's get into it. These are my top 5 least favorite things about SSO as a veteran player. Number 5, the new player character model. Okay, so it's been over a year since the character has been updated now, and I'm still struggling to really enjoy it, because my biggest pet peeve is, why do we have the face of like a 16 to 20-year-old, right? But the body of a prepubescent child. And also all the other body type options as well. They all are kind of the same body type. Like, we can be a skinny prepubescent child, or a bigger prepubescent child, or whatever this muscular body type is. And I know SSO said that they were going to add more body types, but come on, man, it's been over a year now. Where are they? Clearly it's not a huge priority. And also, isn't our character, like, technically supposed to be the same age as the Soul Riders? And the Soul Riders, I know they used to be at least 18 before they got rid of ages in the character sheets for some reason. But, like, I don't think it was ever explicitly said how old we are, but we have to be their age, right? Because the story is we literally came to this riding camp to learn how to ride all by ourselves, so don't we have to be, like, a legal adult, I would guess? I don't know. Anyway, I hope SSO does end up adding more diverse body types and we don't just look like this forever, but honestly, my hopes are not all that high, because it's been like 10 years and I'm still waiting on that nail salon that they promised forever ago. Number 4, the updated graphics. Okay, yes, I am one of those veteran players who does prefer the way that the graphics used to look, and don't get me wrong, I don't hate all of the graphics nowadays. I don't hate the way everything looks. Like, I don't mind the way that updated Valedale looks, and Wildwoods, and the Wild Weave, and Fort Maria. I don't mind the way that looks. I think that looks okay. But the older areas like Moorland and Silverglade, those areas that have been there from the start of the game, I'm not a huge fan of the way the graphics look, and I'm sure some of that is just due to my own nostalgia. But at the same time, I just am not very preferential to the new art style that is the game. I think the old graphics were more realistic. And okay, I've seen other creators talk about this, and then I'll go into the comments and I'll see just a ton of people being like, oh, what do you mean the graphics aren't realistic? They were so old and the new ones look so much better. And I'm like, you're completely missing the point, okay? Let me explain. Like, yes, the old graphics were outdated, okay? They were from as old as going back to whenever Starshine Legacy was, 2004, 2005. Some of those assets have been in the game a really long time, and they needed to be replaced. However, overall, I think the art style of those old graphics looked more realistic compared to what we have now. When I go to Moorland and Silverglade now, everything is so bright and green and perfect, and I just feel like I'm walking around in a Barbie world. Versus, you know, a semi-realistic, mysterious, kind of creepy-looking forest, like in the old graphics. There was a certain charm to the old graphics. There was a certain mysterious feeling that made the game feel so exciting, and I feel like all of that has just been sucked out of it now, and that's why I prefer the old graphics, honestly, and I think that's what a lot of other older creators try and communicate as well, and a lot of people misinterpret what they're saying. Number 3, the new UI. Okay, it's been over a year on this as well. I think this came out slightly before the new character models did, and I'm still not used to it, not at all. Like, the new UI it's like the most bland thing ever. It looks like your most basic mobile game. The old UI had so much more personality. Like, we had the horseshoe map, which was such a unique thing. And there was something so cozy about the way it felt too. And it feels like now with the new UI, there's no life to it whatsoever. There's nothing special about it that says, this is Star Stable, this is what makes me unique. It's just the most generic thing ever. And I know that the new UI had to be updated. I knew the old one had to go because that's another thing that's been in the game for such a really long time. And eventually, you just gotta update these things to keep with the times. However, they could have kept it unique. They could have took inspiration from the old one and kept that old feeling while just giving it a little facelift. Let me give an example of this. Like, another game that I play all the time, Black Desert Online. Now, they've updated their UI since they came out. The game has been out since 2016, and they updated the UI a couple years ago. And here's what the old UI looked like, and then here's the new one. But then another thing that they did is they gave an option for players to choose between this brand new UI or have an updated version of the old one, and here's what that looks like. Now, as you can see, this refresh of the old UI, they look very similar, except this one just got a slight facelift. It just looks slightly more modern. And even like the brand new version of the UI, like it has this unique feeling to it. Like, you're not gonna see this in most other games. It is a unique thing to this game. It has personality. SSO's new one has no personality. It's just the most generic thing ever. The only thing I kind of like about the new UI is I like the little picture of our character and horse in the corner. I think that's kind of cool to look at. But the rest is just so boring. There is no personality going on there whatsoever. Like, they didn't have to do it this way. If they just put in, like, the littlest bit of thought to it, it could have been so much better. Like, little things that they've changed like this just frustrate me so much, because it's like, there was so many more creative ways you could have done this, and you didn't. You just went the most bland route possible. Number 2, removal of old events. So I've been playing for a long time now. I've been playing since Christmas of 2012, so I'll be going on 12 years this year. So I remember all the old events. I remember when we had Valentine's Day, when we had Easter, when we had April Fools. I remember the old Christmas when we would help set up around Silverglade and all over the rest of Jorvik, and these quests would literally last like the whole entire month of December. There was like 4 or 5 quests a week or something like that they would add. It kept us busy the whole time up to Christmas, and then we got presents from Silverglade Village on Christmas, and it was so exciting, the build up to that. Oh, and then Midsummer as well. I can't forget that. That was also really exciting, setting up for that around Steve's farm. I really miss that. But yeah, now we don't have any of that. We only have a couple big events every year. We have, what is there? The Equestrian Festival, the Western Festival, we have Halloween, and we have the Christmas Village. And we used to have the Rainbow Festival, but then they just, they threw that out on us this year. Didn't even tell us that it was ending this year. Thanks, SSO. And even every year with those same, 4 events, it's like the same quests over and over. Or if there is, like, new quests, it's literally like a couple lines of dialogue. And they say that they're working on, like, new stuff for the festivals, but it's been a couple years now, and I still haven't seen any of this new stuff that they're talking about. Yeah, that seems to be a common theme around here. But yeah, I would much rather have all of those little festivals for each of the holidays over the season versus these 4 big ones that are just not even anything different. And I hate how grindy they've made some of these festivals too now, like the big grind at Halloween and the Winter Village, and I'm like, I don't have time for that. I am an adult who will have a full-time job later this year. And even kids, too, have like school and stuff. We can't be expected to be on the game for so many hours a day, grinding out for this clothes and pets and little things like that. And for someone like me, personally, the grind isn't even worth it. It's not fun, it's not exciting, I'm not into that. Like, why can't we just have something simple like April Fool's back, where we can, change the color of our horse through a silly little bunny? Like, I miss that. It was fun, it was silly, and now it's just the same old grind over and over again. Yay. And lastly, we have number 1, the updates to the story quests. Okay, so the story quests are what I'm most passionate about in this game, if you couldn't tell looking at my content on my channel. Literally, story quests are like the only reason I'm still here on this game. Like, SSO's story has been a massive influence on my life. Like, I am working to be an author right now. SSO got me into writing. I would love to work for a video game someday too, and it's all because of SSO. Like, SSO was a huge inspiration on me growing up, and it's so sad to see the quests have fallen into the state that they're in now. Literally the only reason that I still play this game is for the story quests, and that's the reason I started making my little satirical story quest video series, is because it's how I'm able to cope with the state that they're in at this point. But don't get me wrong, I don't hate everything about what they've changed to the lore and stuff like that. I honestly have some probably controversial takes on that. For instance, I really don't mind Orisa. I know a lot of people are butthurt about how many times they changed her name, for instance, because she was Elise, and then Nahili, and then Chio, now she's finally Orisa. I don't have a huge problem with that because she was never in the game before that, so it's not like they were changing her when she was actually fleshed out in the story. Also, I'm not a huge fan of Orisa's character model, the way she looks, but I do enjoy her personality. I think she acts exactly how I would imagine someone who's like the dominator of chaos to act. Like, you can tell she's a little off her rocker. She's crazy and eccentric and unpredictable, and I really enjoy that. So I actually really like her, if we ignore the part where she tried to take out my husband. Anyway, I also know a lot of people don't like the new Dark Rider models, but I honestly don't have an issue with them either. Like, I'll see people complaining that, like, oh, the Dark Riders, they all had such, like, unique appearances and cool personalities beforehand. And anytime I hear that, I just, like, before the Dark Riders got updated, they had as much personality as that of a wet noodle. They were literally generic Mean Girl 1, 2, and 3. Stop lying to yourself.
Stop it. Get some help.
And I know they had, like, no personality because I used to be an avid fanfiction writer for this game, and I've always preferred the Dark Riders to the Soul Riders, so I did a lot of work writing the Dark Riders, and trying to write them was a challenge. I had to make up a bunch of my own headcanons because I had nothing to work with when it came to their personalities. I will give this, though. I think Katya always had more personality than the rest of the Dark Riders. Or maybe that's just me gaslighting myself because I had, like, a huge obsession with her back in 2015. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, looking at them now, they all have very distinct appearances, and they have at least a little bit more personality than they did before. So I really don't have any gripes with them, appearance and personality-wise. But moving on to the issues, and I honestly could probably make this one its own whole separate video. But as I said earlier, I have not done like a fresh playthrough of this game in many years. The last time I made a new account was in 2018, I do believe. So I don't know a whole lot of what the story looks like now. I've been thinking of maybe making a new account, if my channel ever kind of kicks off, and kind of make a comparison towards the new quests and the old quests. People would be interested in that. But yeah, from what I've heard, the new player experience is very different from how it used to be for me back in the day. For instance, SSO has made so many different changes to their lore. Like, one thing that I heard was that they made Lisa and Anne's time imprisoned in Pandoria They cut it down to 2 weeks?
What? What the f?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think originally back in 2013, Anne's time in prison was 2 years? And then they cut it down to 2 months? But 2 weeks? That doesn't even make any sense. How did she get so many scars in the course of 2 weeks and Lisa didn't? That makes no sense. And I used to really like Anne, actually, and her new personality. I didn't like how she was the spoiled rich mean girl back in Star Sign Legacy, and I really liked how they made her more down to earth, made her seem a lot more human in the new quests. But by shortening her time in Pandoria down to 2 weeks, now you just, nullified everything that was interesting about her. I really liked this idea of her being kind of an anti-hero and wanting to get revenge on the Dark Riders for what they did to her. But now they basically erased all of that. Now it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What was the point of doing that? So that they could add an introduction to all the Soul Riders at the start of the game? We really didn't need that. They took away all that was, mysterious and exciting. It was so much more exciting when we got to meet Alex at the vineyard, for instance, for the first time, when the Baroness introduced us, and then we got together and we solved the mystery of Linda being locked up in the castle together. And through that, we slowly got to earn Alex's trust, and then we got to slowly earn the trust of the Keepers. And now we don't have that. Now it's just thrown right at us. Again, they just got rid of, all the challenge, all the mystery in the game, and it's just, straight up in your face. I'm sorry, is it necessary to dumb it down this much for people? Also, speaking of dumbing down, I hate how, dumb they've made the Soul Riders and everybody seem these days, especially Fripp. He's this immortal cosmic being, right? And yet he can't see, the most obvious trap from the Dark Riders. What was that? What is this? Oh, and then another thing that I see people mentioning too all the time is I like that we're getting to spend more time with the Dark Riders and getting to know them more, because I'm very pro Dark Riders. I like them so much more than the Soul Riders. But it's we so casually approach them all the time now in the new story quests, or then them at the festivals, and it's they're not scary at all because they're not doing anything to fight us off. They're just oh, whatever. They just don't feel intimidating at all because we can just so freely come up and talk to them. And I get that SSO has made it very clear that they want to keep catering towards a young audience of young girls and tweens and early teens. But that was the target audience back in the day too, and yet the game had all that mystery and that little bit of challenge, and now we don't have any of that. There's no justification for it in my eyes, other than just laziness on their part. Anyway, I've been rambling about this for close to 19 minutes now, and I don't want this to be all that long of a video, so I think I'm gonna call it here. Like I said, I could make that last point its whole video, and I might do that, especially if I do end up making a new account. I might definitely make another video where I sit down and kind of go more in depth on all those points. But anyhow, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up or leave a comment, and do feel free to subscribe. Any kind of engagement will help me out, because clearly the algorithm does not love me very much. And I do just make these little videos for fun, but at the same time, it does take me about 8 to 10 hours to put these videos together. And these videos are things that I am really passionate about, and it would be really nice if my passions were able to reach more people, and I got the opportunity to maybe talk with more people about the things I'm passionate about. I don't know. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to me ramble a little bit today. And I will see you, hopefully, within 2 weeks for hopefully what is actually story quest this time, and not just one quest thing and a little collection that doesn't really do much for you. Yeah, regardless, I'll see you in the next one.